Hear about your film. What were you doing this weekend?
Dude, thank you for asking. So back in October, I got a listserv from the school about a film competition. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. Let me make something. So I made a film called Mementos, and it's about like Google Earth and like
How long is it?
2 minutes. I can send it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
And
It's already clipped up?
what? Oh, no, this is from October.
Oh, okay.
This is what won me the festival.
Okay.
So I made it with my friend Aiden. Mostly myself. He just filmed it. But I sent it. I edited it, whatever. Sent it in and waited like a month. And they emailed me. They're like, congrats, you're one of our 8 semifinalists. And I'm like, sick. Because I've never won things like this, especially for film. And I didn't really know what it meant. I had never submitted to a festival. So I didn't know that wasn't like, that's not how festivals work. Like festivals are very like a selection process. And they were like, all right, you're one of 8 semifinalists. So I'm like, cool. So they give me an interview. I like talked to this lady for 30 minutes on Zoom. And she kind of brings up all these things. She's like, well, what will your film be about if you're a winner? I'm like, I have no idea what she's talking about. So supposedly, like if you win, there's like 6 finalists. That's what they call it. They put you through a 10-week course in like filmmaking with like you consult with people, and then they give you a grant to go make a film with the same prompt as the film
What
you
was the
submitted.
prompt?
Like, how does technology connect people? Like, pretty simple. And
I think it's very not simple.
well, there's a lot of directions you can take it.
Yeah.
Mine was the Google Earth thing because or like how does it inspire?
Yeah, what was the Mementos about?
It was like me as a character, and I'm like struggling for inspiration, and then like by using Google Earth, which I do use all the time for inspiration, like I revisit the places I've been, and I incorporated footage from the times I've been there, and it was like it's kind of like a cool like flashback thing.
That is cool.
I layered it. So then they were like, yeah, you got the thing. And I'm like, cool. I had no idea really what it was. And so I was a fellow at a film school in New York called Ghetto Film School. And like the grants are provided by the Stavros Narcos Foundation, which is like I think it's a Greek foundation. And they're like, yeah, every Saturday you got to be in this class in the morning. And like the people are really cool. There's 2 guys from Greece, one girl from Thailand, one kid lives in California, and I forget where the last girl lives. But like, so they just like, we would consult with these professionals and like cinematographers, like sound engineers, all this stuff. Really interesting. And then they were like, really vague about it, to be honest, but they were like, yeah, you have to make a film.
How long is the film?
They didn't tell us. So I started writing a script for a treatment, which is like a outline for a film that would be like 20 minutes about like a band in upstate. And I was like, I did a character study on one of the characters. Like I was going to make it. And then they told me, they're like, it can only be 2 minutes. They were like, it has max 3 minutes. I was like, you're giving me $3,000 to make it 3 minutes.
That's
3 minute film.
Yeah,
so I was like,
not too shabby.
So we have the cage, like we can rent equipment out, and like you don't pay for student actors. So I'm like, realistically, I won't spend any of this money other than like food, for the crew. So I'm like, I kind of want to spend the money. So I said, let's go to New York. And I wrote up a script about like me and my brother. Well, inspired by me and my brother, like leaving when I left for college and kind of like feeling guilty, like leaving him at home with like family problems. And I wrote the script about a brother and sister. And I started recruiting my dream team, like literally the people I thought were the best at everything that I know. So my friend Lily was my assistant director and casting director. Aiden was production design. He's just a really creative guy. Busby's on sound, like so good at sound.
His name is Buzzbeast.
And Andrew Busby. That's
Okay.
his last name. We call him Busby. Who else? Laksha. This kid is a cinematographer. I'm a cinematographer myself, so I can really appreciate his talent. And I said, all right, guys, you want to come to New York with me April 11th or 10th? And we started casting. I got in contact with this kid, Rob Petrie. I hope I didn't say his name wrong. He like wrote up the contracts for the actors for me, and he sat in on the auditions. Really like talented, capable guy. And he ended up letting us, he owns a cinema camera. And he ended up letting us take it to the city with all his sound equipment.
What is a cinema camera?
It's just basically an expensive camera. Like it's like I don't know if you saw the pictures on my Instagram, but like it's like a big thing. And we're to give you some context, the footage we recorded for a 2-minute film, we recorded 350 gigabits of footage. That's a
shit ton.
That's how high resolution and like how much details in the footage.
Wow.
And so like Sunday night we get on the bus, we get there at midnight, take the metro. Like I'm carrying a 50-pound camera case with me. Everybody's got some kind of bag. We get to the hotel, and then in the morning we wake up. Like I had cast this actor, this 16-year-old boy from Michigan named Avon, who's super talented. He came with his mom. And then actually of the 50 women we auditioned, like local New York actresses, the one we ended up picking was a Syracuse student.
Really?
A senior named Emily Hernandez, who's a theater major living in the city. And she was just so talented. That's who we picked. And we got there. Our location was mobbed with kids for some reason. What
was the first location?
Yeah, so I had gone on a trip in March to go look at locations. And the location I found in the West Village is beautiful. It was pretty quiet on the day. But when we got there for the shoot, it was just like the kids were playing. There was like recess time. And so we were like, this is like literally the worst. Like it's crowds and crowds of people. So me and Laksha, my DP, we ran down the street and we found like this quiet street that like you really have no reason to drive on because it just like kind of cuts off a little thing. And like nobody was walking on it. There was no cars. And so we were like, let's shoot here.
Do you have to get permits for this?
See, I was really worried. Like, sort of. Like, if you put like lighting stands down on the ground in the street, you have to get a permit. But that's like the hard line.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, we're not bringing any lights. We're gonna use like flags and you know the big white things, and we're just gonna bring the camera and the sound. And the camera, we were worried that the camera's so big, it looks like you were filming like a big action movie or something. And we were worried that like the police would come and be like, I'm sorry, you know, like this is too big. And the police drove by and they just drove by. And I was like,
see weirder shit.
Yeah, like I mean, it did probably look weird. Maybe it helps that like there was only five of us as the crew and then a couple actors, and like we're all pretty young. Like we didn't look like too intimidating. So like I don't know, the shoot went so well. Better than I ever would have thought, which is crazy. Like we just kind of rolled up to the city, shot for 6 hours, and then dipped.
How did you know what you wanted to shoot? Did you come prepared with something before?
Well, see, that's the job of the cinematographer. So Laksha, he wrote up a shot list and like a storyboard and wrote it all out. And I wouldn't say it didn't like align with my vision exactly because I had been to the location and I knew exactly what I wanted, and it failed to send him pictures of it. So on the bus we like redid the whole shot list and we made it in like a more efficient system. We bumped it from 32 shots down to 16, where we could shoot it and it would make sense. Like the actors would be acting out like either half or like the full scene every time, so it wouldn't like be abrupt for them. And like we could get the right coverage and then like with the lighting, the sun was coming up and we needed to like be strategic about that. And so like we had a shot list like plan, and Lily's job as the assistant director is to keep us on schedule and tell us like it's this shot, like you got to get moving, and so yeah, like we definitely had a plan. I wasn't gonna spend all this money and just go to the city not have a plan. So this was really difficult for me. I like just let him do it. Like I let him do camera. I like made sure he knew what he was doing, but he's like a talented person, and like it was hard for me as someone who loves technical stuff and like the camera and like being a cinematographer myself, saying like, all right, I'm not even going to look at the monitor. I just trust that you're getting the shot. Because the director's job is to work with the actors.
Yeah.
And so we finished the shoot, and we just packed up and got on the bus.
Did the plan change with the change of location?
The plan is in the shooting plan?
Yeah.
No. Well, actually a little bit, because there's a part like the sister leaves, she gets in a car and drives away, and it was like a one-way street, and like both the locations were one-way streets, but it was going like the opposite way. So like we had to reshoot a couple shots like with the actors like looking the other way, but when we needed the car, actually, like I had asked Aiden as the production designer to just figure it out and say like, I told him like weeks before, like, could you like schedule a cab to be at this place at this time, and like so we have the cab there and I'll pay whatever. And like we shoot everything. I'm like, all right, Aiden, bring in the cab, and he's like on the phone, and he's like, nobody's picking up. Like, and so what I ended up doing is I ordered an Uber to where we were shooting, and I ordered it to just take me around the block. The guy got there, and I said, look, dude, I don't need you to take me anywhere. Let's cancel this ride. I got a $50 bill. If you just drive your car up and down this street a couple times and let us film you, you won't be in it. Your license plate won't be in it. You get this $50. And he was like, sure. For like 20 minutes of filming. Great deal. Fantastic. Yeah. And so we just like we hurried and we got our shots. They weren't perfect, because we were trying to be respectful of his time. But yeah, like he just drove up and down, and like she got in the car and whatever, and then I gave him his $50 and he left. So when you see the car in the film, that's my boy Wasanta.
Wasanta, that's great.
That's my boy.
Yeah. So how was working with the actors for you as usually a cinematographer?
Yeah. See, that was challenging because I don't work with actors that much, and I was actually really nervous because I was like, it's on me. If their performance sucks, it's on me. The script is, I wouldn't say simple, but it's short. Like,
did you write it?
Yeah, and they had rehearsed it a couple times. But I just sat down with them. Like, there's a lot of tricks. Like, you're supposed to ask them questions instead of, you don't tell them like act this way. So I started asking them questions. I said, like, there's a reason you as the brother are on the street and you're not inside. Like, the parents are like fighting inside. That's the whole thing. And I'm asking them like, what's their relationship? Maybe like this thing you don't want to say, or maybe like.
You hear that?
What?
I heard a camera stop. Yo.
And we're back.
And we're back after a quick technical error because I like switched it so that one could get charged, and I forgot it. That one wasn't plugged in all the way.
It's okay.
So it died.
Dresden 2.0.
Yeah, but at least this one's recording.
Let's hope it saved that recording.
No, it does.
Okay.
This has happened before.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
What was I saying? Working with actors?
Yeah. You were talking about their fighting inside.
Yeah. So like I sat on the street. I like got a little stool and I sat on the street with the actors. Like, they were sitting on the curb. The whole scene takes place there. And I talked to them, and I actually, like, told them about, like, my, like, being the child of divorced parents. Like, this is a personal story to me. And it really helps when, like, the story is one that you've experienced, like, that you can tell yourself. Because, like, one of the strongest pieces of advice that they gave us in, like, the 10 weeks was, like, tell the story you want to tell. And I'm like, there's plenty of stories that I want to tell, but this is like a story that I know. So basically like they stay connected through like music. Like she's like, play a song for me and like listen to this at this time and you'll think of me. It's just a simple message. And it was good because they're professional actors. So it's like, I've worked with non-actors a lot, like people just who don't know how to act. And that's a lot of like telling them like enunciate this or like express this. But like the kid who's 16, been acting for 5 years. He's done like Netflix shows and stuff. Like he's like a talented actor. Like he knows what he's doing. And it was really, really cool to just give him those questions and like give him my experience and then for him to act that out like with that in mind. Like I really didn't have to do that much other than be like a kind, accommodating person and like talk to his mom and be nice and talk to him and ask him about his school and just like make sure he's feeling comfortable. And like that's kind of the director's job. So like I was stressed about it though. I was certainly, other than getting arrested, that was probably my biggest concern.
Yeah. Were there any like hiccups along the way that you guys faced other than the cab?
Yeah, I think.
Or burps.
Well, yeah. Well, the location being off. Like the camera at one point just like shut off, and we were super worried. Like we thought we lost all the footage at one point.
Jeez.
Like
yeah, you texted me about a hard drive.
Oh yeah, that was unrelated. I do need to get a hard drive, but yeah, like coming back,
pants.
I was like, I was worried I'd lose the equipment, like we'd break stuff. But surprisingly, like, thank God we got the equipment from Rob because Rob's the boy. If we had got it from
Rob.
Thanks, Rob. If we had got it from the cage, I promise you it would have broken on the day of. Especially as a freshman, they would get given me the worst stuff. But Rob keeps his stuff in good shape, so no problems. I'd say like it's tough to just like get up on a Sunday evening at 5 and take a 6-hour bus to the city.
Yeah, what kind of bus was it? A Greyhound?
No, I don't know what it was. They dropped us in like Binghamton and we hit a transfer, and like we get in at 12:30 and we're miles from our hotel. And to just like for me it was, I wouldn't say it was hard, but like definitely tiring, especially carrying like this big case.
Yeah.
Just to be like, all right guys, like this is where we're going. None of them really had experience like in the city. I would say like, all right, just like figuring out the subway and being like, this is where we're going, and then like walking for a while, getting in at like 1:30 and then planning and then waking up at 7:30 and shooting.
Fucker. You little shit whore.
Damn it.